in Trombone land. It's very early in the morning here in Berlin, and we have the most spontaneous hangout ever. About, I don't know, about 12 hours ago, my wonderful webmaster Tim was sitting in rehearsal in Melbourne and said, "Hey, Christian Lindberg's in Melbourne. Let's get him on a hangout." And I said, "Okay." And you know what? We did. And here he is, Christian Lindberg. Welcome to the Hangouts. It's so great to see you.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun to be here. I've seen your Hangouts. They're really good and great.
Well, the trombone world was really getting at me to get some more trombone players on, because we had Mick right at the beginning, and then we went a bit quiet in the trombone world. So thank you. It's really fantastic. And the chat is going crazy with all sorts of questions for you. But tell us, what are you doing in Melbourne?
I am doing a piece that I wrote for 9 trombones and orchestra. And also I'm doing Sibelius' Second Symphony. I'm doing a master class in conducting on Sibelius 5, and I do a trombone master class, and I'm playing Leopold Mozart concerto.
No singing or dancing while you're doing all that?
No singing or dancing this week. This week it's a little bit more conventional.
I asked because I spent last night with you on the internet. I mean, not literally, I was watching everything I could find about you. And you were singing, you were playing, you were dancing, you were swimming underwater playing your trombone. At one point, I just shut my computer and I just thought, this guy's a genius. It's incredible, all the different things you are doing. And your programs these days seem to comprise all of your talents all together. You play pieces you've composed and you conduct them as well.
Yeah.
Crazy. Wonderful.
Yeah, I did. I don't know why it became like that, but I think it's part of it is wanting to be in control, actually. Some of my friends say that I am a control freak.
Ah, and what do you think? Are you a control freak?
No, I'm a complete maniac that try to behave in a disciplined way. That's it.
But you make your life more difficult by doing all this.
No, I think it's easier. It's easier now because I was when I was in the orchestra, playing in the opera orchestra, I felt I was someone that people fooled around with. I mean, I was always in other people's hand, and I became a soloist, but I was still in the conductor's hand. And also I had the literature was not very great for trombone. I tried to sort of like a defense lawyer really defend the repertoire, but it wasn't all that great. And then when I was 39, I started to compose.
You said you weren't going to compose. You composed one piece ages ago, and it wasn't received very well. So you said, "Never again."
Never again, never again. And but it was my friend Jan Sandström who wrote the Motorbike Concerto, a piece that I mean most of the people on the chat know it here. I played it 699 times.
What?
Yes.
I didn't find that on Google.
And then Jan Sandström said, "No, don't commission any more pieces. Write it yourself." And since then, composing has been my main subject, actually.
So you would say you're a composer first, and then a conductor or a trombone player?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the thing is that the conducting at the moment takes the most time. Once you get there's so many orchestras, and once you get a couple of orchestras, like I have about 10 orchestras now that I have a great relationship, it just consumes so much time. I mean, every single week and the 3 last years I've only done two solo engagements with other conductors, one with Concertgebouw and one last week with Zubin Mehta.
Otherwise, it's great.
Yeah,
Zubin
that was
is just
fun.
Fabulous. Yeah.
He was so much fun to work with. He's such a great man. 77 and still like an 8-year-old.
Amazing, amazing. But with those sort of conductors, then I would be happy to give the control up to those sort of conductors.
Yeah. That's fantastic to do.
Yeah.
You just stand there and relax, and it's like compared to doing all the things. Once I get used to it. I get very, very tired, but I also get stronger and stronger. when getting used to doing your own piece and conduct it and rehearse it and everything, you get going back to being a soloist feels like a holiday week.
Maybe I should try that. I'm very
Yeah, it's like running with this sand thing on the back and then taking them off. A little bit that feeling, but
it's not only conducting and composing and playing. I was watching you be Lucifer. You were singing as well while you were conducting, and then you were playing. I mean, I just
yeah, I saw someone else on your chat, the singer, doing the same thing. She was conducting in Ligeti.
Barbara. Yeah, Barbara.
Yeah, Barbara.
Yes.
Barbara Hannigan, yeah. And I perfectly understand it. I mean, it's a trombone is quite a good instrument to do it with, because you have the slide, and you can show a lot with the slide. And when you write the music, and then you can, if you can talk, you can talk.
That's true, actually. Every time I even have to give a downbeat with the horn, I end up splitting a note. Horn players hate to give any sort of downbeats because it takes it away from our lips. But I guess you guys can really conduct with your slide. I never thought about that.
Yeah,
Impressive.
you can a little bit. No, when you're playing. Otherwise, you do it with the hands. But of course, it is not. But it's so far away, so you don't have to move so much.
Yeah,
it's okay.
And you can play one-handed. We can't.
That's right. Correct.
That's I'm sorry, it's very early in the morning here. That's about the most profound statement you'll get out of me this morning.
So, of course, French horn is so much more difficult here. You're right.
Yeah. Christian from Ireland says, please come back and play again there soon. Ger Brady, he's a trombone player in Ireland. He said, please come back and play there. But you just conducted there as well. Well, you did everything there.
Conducted. There was a fantastic orchestra. There were both orchestras I worked with them, but Irish National. And I'm going back there very soon again to do Tchaikovsky 5 and Helicon Wasp and some other things.
Yes,
so.
because
I will definitely come back to Ireland. The people in Ireland are so friendly and wonderful.
And they can drink.
Yes, and they can make beer.
They can. And Scandinavians like beer. The Oslo Philharmonic were just here.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say a very big hello to you from Christard Gersling, Stefan Schulz, Jesper Sørensen. They were all playing. They were here yesterday. I got your number from Stefan in the big panic to try and contact you. And yeah. Christard Gersling said to me, our principal trombone, he said, Christian, yes, the trombone world is very, very lucky to have him. Without him, we wouldn't have anything to play.
It's really, very kind of him.
You've played overnight. You've got over 90 concertos. I read.
Yeah, it's over 90 now. I think 92, 93, something like that. So yeah. When you think of it, I mean, the thing is with me, I was born with a lot of energy, and if I don't get rid of that energy, I get very irritated and do bad things. So it's like I was smoking 60 cigarettes a day for a while.
Oh, disgusting!
Yeah, disgusting. But I stopped that, and if I don't get rid of that energy, then if I do, then I feel really, really good. And,
Jeff Brady from Ireland says, have you run any marathons recently?
I ran actually yesterday. I did 30 kilometers here in Melbourne because that was the dress rehearsal, if you call it that, for the Stockholm Marathon, which is my 11th marathon on the 1st of June.
Christian, I would like to do this, but I would disappear from the camera. This is really...
No, it's just a brain damage. That's all it is.
And someone's just asked, Wes, I think he's a tuba player, said, how do you manage to maintain all your musical talents and your work and being so fit? How do you balance it? Do you not sleep?
Yes, I sleep. I do sleep. And I sleep very well, actually. That's a good thing about being active. Also being active with your body, running and doing yoga and I do a lot of yoga. That once you sleep so good and deep.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try taking up marathon running. We had a discussion here on the Hangouts the other day whether it was necessary to do sport if you're a brass player, and I think it totally is.
It
Um,
is.
but you seem to be the sort of guy that takes things really to extremes.
Yeah, I was born like that.
Yeah? Really?
Yeah, I was
So why
born like
did
that.
you become a
Yes,
trombone
yes, I
player?
have no, it's the one problem that I have, I don't put, don't have a stop button. So I was in Venezuela conducting the Simon Bolivar, and you know what that is. I mean, that's energy, if
Yeah.
something. And the people, they took me out on an island in the morning, these guys, these trombone players, and the many people from the orchestra. And we started at 10 o'clock, and they took up a big bottle of whiskey and a lot of cigarettes. So we spent the day there drinking whiskey by the sea.
These kids, I
And then
thought
the
they were
next,
all kids.
sorry?
I thought they were all kids in that orchestra.
Well, there is no wait, there is a grown-up orchestra there.
I know it was a
The
British
people,
humor.
yeah, the people in the youth orchestra, they go up to a senior orchestra when they get around 25 or something, and they get a full salary then. And it's amazing, what an orchestra, what an orchestra. But on the way back to on the plane, I passed out. So, like this. And
That's a real perk of your job, I must say. I was watching your video diaries, and you were playing. You're on Copacabana Beach, and then the next one I watched, you were in the Arctic. Fabulous to see the world like that. That must have been actually one of the highlights of doing your job is getting around so much. Although it can be a lonely life sometimes.
yes, it is. It can be really terrible because when you are tired and in a bad mood and you feel lonely and everything. But it can also, if you get the flow and get in a good mood and have a good physics and do it, then it's unbelievable. And also I have so much fun now doing these video diaries because it's like a hobby. You go around with the camera everywhere and you document it for the rest of the life. So
Do you make
when
them
I'm
yourself?
80 and look back 40 years, I can see what I do.
Do you make them yourself?
I make them absolutely from beginning to end myself.
Amazing. If
I
any,
had a son. My son
sorry.
used to do them. My son is a film producer, and he used to do them, and I paid him quite well for them. But then he suddenly one day said, Daddy, this is really crap work. I can't fit in the time for it anymore. So I felt, what is this? And then he taught me how to do it, and I do it myself now. But it's
That's
lots of fun.
If any of you don't know Christian's video diaries, go onto YouTube. Maybe one of you can put a link to them on the chat right now because I discovered them last night and they are so much fun. And for all you trombone geeks out there, there's always a trombone tip right at the end. Really, really fantastic idea. But usually I was waiting for one in your bathing suit or something. You were sitting outside. I thought you were going to jump into that lake.
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay. I'll find something fun next time also.
So you are the fact that you put that out there, it's really amazing. You've got you make yourself accessible, which I think is wonderful because this is what we're trying to do with the Hangouts. I feel it's a very important part of classical music these days, and I was wondering how you felt about that.
Yeah, I do. I do. It's because classical music is in a big crisis. And I can understand really why. Because I saw it really from the beginning. I had an instrument which I mean, normal audiences, they don't feel a difference between a trombone or a violin. But in this little tiny classical world, it's miles between a violin and a trombone. So they would, if I wouldn't have been so consistent in my hard work, and also because the audience were they loved trombone, they loved it, and the critics were always very positive, but the actual institutions, orchestras in institutions were I mean, they're starting to get it now. When we hear that all these orchestras are being closed or going bankrupt, but it's 20 years too late,
Yeah.
I think.
You really think so? You think
So
they
we
should have...
better be very, very fast to bring it back, I think.
So this is your also. I read in an interview that you did about your intention of commissioning these works. You know, you would much rather play a program works by Xenakis and Berio than you know, just stick with the classical repertoire. It's sort of like almost forcing the people to look at this all this new stuff out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's very strange with music. Well, we call it classical music, and that's probably why. But when it comes to art, for instance, there are exhibitions, and there's lots of people going to it. But I think it happened in the 60s or the 70s. There was a big gap between the institutions and the composers, thanks to the avant-garde maybe. And then sort of modern music is put as a car parking piece or something like that.
Or motorbike.
And then, of course, the audience. Sorry.
Motorbike.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, but there's many different aspects of this. So you can see it. You cannot just see it in black and white. But for sure, to your initial question, I think we have to make sure we are not put in a corner where the people who are doing acoustic, I call it acoustical music.
Yeah. Well, I think that the online world these days gives us that platform to be able, I mean, you know about our digital concert hall, we live stream our concerts.
It's amazing.
But that's still
it's amazing.
Classical music, you know, that the people these days need some sort of visual teasers to make them even want to tune in, you know, and what you're doing with.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of, I say from the Berlin, that from your, there's also some contemporary works, quite a lot of contemporary work. Simon Rattle has put in a lot of contemporary work, repertoire into your,
yeah.
Isn't that true? Or?
Yes, no, it's totally true. At the beginning, people were a little bit like, you know, what do we have to really come and hear this stuff? And I mean, some of the pieces weren't so great. Some of the pieces were amazing. But that's what modern art is the same. You know, you stand in front of a modern painting and think, God, this is great. Other people stand in front of it and think, load of rubbish. But, you know.
And if you look at Van Gogh, for instance, his uncle was the most influential art person in the world, and he was not. He sold one painting in his life, so we don't really know. We have to get them in there, and we have different opinions about it. But also, we have to bring that music in to bring the audience in that's interested in it.
Modern music is a very very personal thing. Have you ever commissioned a piece, no names, and thought and got it and then thought, oh no, what am I going to do with this?
Yes. It's a tricky one. You just have to defend it to the end. It's like being a lawyer defending a murder.
I love it. Love it.
You just have to go to the end.
Can you say you've had some favorites? Some favorites?
Absolutely favorites. They're, I can name them immediately. Sandström Motorbike Concerto, Sandström Don Quixote, Berio Solo, Takemitsu, Xenakis, and that's 5 of them, but they're 15, 20 really great pieces.
There's no one else doing what you do on the trombone. There's no one else who made a career of just being a trombone soloist. Did your agent, or did you went to find an agent? Did people think you were totally crazy at the beginning?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it was like hitting the wall once, time after time. And then it was very good for myself because I became creative and found ways to open that door. And suddenly it opened and it just broke out completely when I was 30. Between 20 and 30, already at 20 I did my first CD, which with Flight to the Bumblebee and everything. And it was, of course, everyone in the world had heard it. But it took 10 years even with that CD out.
We had Håkan we had Håkan.
I saw it.
And he told me about your little, I mean, you can see this on YouTube now, your night at the opera, the two of you. But for me, if you can go into YouTube, you can watch Håkan Hardenberg and Christian Lindberg, very cute, in their suits, and Håkan had hair like this, and you can see them playing at the Royal Academy of Art, wasn't it, in London?
Yeah.
Already then, you two were really trying to do something for classical music, because you were getting a young audience in there, and you were playing the most outrageously difficult stuff. You two, crazy.
Yeah, yeah, we did. We I don't know why. We
Money.
Well, now I can say money, but at that time I say it was like really you earn nothing in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, and that video, for instance, I think we got, oh my God, there was a DVD we made. Was it $50 each or something?
The most outrageously difficult stuff, honestly. But you two, is it something about the Swedish water or beer or something that creates these amazingly crazy, creative brass players?
No, I think actually, to be honest, it's a similar thing as the Venezuela Sistema, El Sistema, because in Sweden we had something called Kommunala Musikskolan, which of course doesn't exist anymore. So Kommunala Musikskolan, it was called.
Okay, everybody together, Kommunala Musikskolan. Okay.
Yes. Right. And that meant that every person in school could borrow an instrument, and they get free from their normal lessons to go to a private music teacher. So there was so many from that generation in the 60s that didn't know anything about music, couldn't afford an instrument, because their parents couldn't afford anything. They could just say, I want to play trombone, and then they go and put it in there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
That must have been and that was what happened to you? You decided because you started late. Okay.
No, not. No. No, I started when I was 17. So.
Thank you anyway for the story.
No, I started there, but I asked my parents if I could get free from it, because I didn't like it. I liked playing basketball better.
Yeah, well, boys will.
Anyway, I learned a little to read music, so that was something at least.
Yeah. Christian, I've got to go to our online audience now, because I could talk. We met briefly in Berlin? No, we didn't.
Yeah, I know at some point we met somewhere.
I think it was here in the canteen after a concert. You were with the other trombones, or you'd done something here at the chamber. But we've never met to talk, so I could talk to you for hours. But our wonderful online audience have been asking questions. So can I shoot a few at you? Because they're really there's just something I've got to read to you from Adam Hanna, who's a real Horn Hangout fan. He's always on the chat, even though he's a trombone player, and he just wrote you a message which I think is very lovely. He says, "Dear Christian, when I was 12 years old, I was given one of your CDs, and I've been hooked ever since then. You are the reason I decided to pursue the trombone. The Hangout is a real privilege for me because you are a celebrity in my eyes. Thank you." That's nice.
Wonderful. Thank you, Adam, for that. That really warms my heart.
And Blagoya Vasilevsky, sorry if I pronounce that wrong, says, how long do you practice?
How long I practice? Nowadays I panic practice. I do it because I have a week of conducting without the trombone, and then I practice 2 days in a row from morning to evening. But normally, when I was building up my career, I had 1 year in London where I practiced between 6 and 8 hours a day, effective time. I did this, I heard this from Håkan. Actually, Håkan got that from me, because it's scientifically proved that 24 minutes is the limit that you can keep yourself concentrated. So I always practice in 24-hour sections.
24-hour sections?
Minute.
You crazy Swedes.
Yeah, completely bad.
I wouldn't put it past you and Håkan to practice 24 hours, I must say.
No, but normally, I mean, for 4 hours I did then, and now it's between 1 and 2.
Okay. Well, that's still pretty inspiring, especially with all your other stuff, because when I wrote to you yesterday saying, hey, Christy, I want to do a hangout, you were memorizing Tchaik 4.
Yeah.
Can you memorize while you practice? You know, some people can read a newspaper while they practice. Can you memorize scores while you practice?
No, no, I was in bed with earphones lying there
Well, I'm
and
sorry to,
and
but thank
there's
you.
there are worse things to do in life than memorizing Tchaikovsky for. I mean, these symphonies are, my God,
Amazing. Yeah. Be
the
nice to the
best.
horns.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's Esa Tapani, you know.
Ah, Big Essa.
Yes,
Send
Big
him my
Esa.
love.
Yes.
I hope he'll cook for you.
Oh, he does. Yes.
Very good. Very good. So we've got a hello from Budapest, from Vilmos for you. From Texas, Destin Chapman says, you're my inspiration for practicing all through high school. Thanks for making great music while remembering classical music can be cool. I also think that's important. If the kids think it's cool, then they want to do it more.
Hmm.
So,
Very important.
and then Anthony in Kansas City. Oh, hang on, I'm doing silly things with my computer. Say, conducting, composing, performing, staying physically active. What leisurely things do you have time for? You don't, do you?
Oh yeah. Actually, I'm working very concentrated, but now from the 9th of June, I have 3 months off. And then I'm going to paddle canoe at my little peninsula, and then I'm going to read a lot of books. I'm going to play basketball. I have a little basketball court there. I'm going to do what else? Cooking. I like cooking
Can you
a
really
little
do
bit,
that?
but
Can you really switch off? Can you switch off your phone, your computer, your brain? I can't, not very well. I'm trying to learn.
yeah, I'm trying to learn. I will be completely don't know what to do for the two, three first weeks, but hopefully then I think I usually can get down after a month or so. They're down
And do you
into
practice
something
at
else.
all, or do you put the trombone away?
I haven't decided.
Okay.
I haven't
Tell us.
decided yet. I mean, I love it. The physical thing of just doing the warm up is very actually it's attractive. It's like hugging someone in a way.
Well, it's
And
very familiar. I found sometimes, even if I'm having a terrible day or life is terrible or my heart's been broken or whatever, to get my horn and do my warm up, it's something very familiar and it's something my body knows and it's something I feel comfortable with, even if the rest of me is feeling terrible.
absolutely true. Absolutely true. It's a comfort thing for me.
Yeah, yeah. Better
Little
than eating.
baby. Yeah.
Well, for me anyway. Christian, Wes has asked, how can we save classical music? And how do we need to get newer audiences? Now, this is a conversation that needs 2 hours, but do you have a
Yeah.
couple of your ideas, apart from the new commissions and everything? What is your philosophy on that?
My philosophy is that we should be proud over the music that we play. So it's like if you think of a painting, there's a frame. The content, the actual painting, don't do anything to it. Like you do Sibelius symphonies stands on their own. Tchaikovsky all great music will always stand on their own. But why? I mean, I had a big discussion with a brain uh, researcher who doesn't know anything about classical music, and he said, "Why do you have this stupid outfit?" And I said, "Well, I thought it was beautiful." I said, "It's great, but it's just a barrier from to the audience." So I took a decision in 2000. Actually, it was the 75th anniversary of BBC Symphony, and I took a decision to go on in black leather trousers and black shirt. And before I went on, the people in the orchestra in the BBC Symphony, they were looking at me. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're doing something bad to us. You're doing something terrible to us. You can't go on stage like that. And I felt, my God, I should never have done that. And I come on stage, and before I even played, the audience were like, what is this? It's one of us. And then I totally stole the show from Joshua Bell, who came out and he was, why didn't you tell me about your dressing, he said. So
He
that's
was
one
Josh
very,
would have won
very
better
tiny
trousers.
thing we can do.
Yeah.
Tiny
Josh,
thing, because people, yeah, sorry.
no, no, I got, blah, blah, blah. Josh would have
Yeah.
worn leather trousers, which was all I was, if you told him, I'm sure he would have worn leather.
Yeah, and that's one small detail that gives people who, there's a lot of people out there who would love to hear symphonies in symphony halls, and to explain to them what it is. Also, they talk about, for instance, 10.1 in sound system, an orchestra in Berlin, in this Philharmonie, it's 110.1. It's like an amazing, and to hear just to hear a bassoon. What is a bassoon? No one knows what it is. It's something we created over 2,000 years from blowing on two pieces of grass, and then building it into a piece that with wood, and that takes ages to build. It's like wine. I mean, people start to understand what wine is. And we have to tell them what is classical music, what is the sound of an oboe, what is the actual, all these beautiful things that is in a symphony orchestra. But we don't. We say, well, we are artists. We are here, and you better understand what we do. Otherwise, you can go to another place. That's what we can do.
I totally agree with you, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, and
Yes, beautiful.
sometimes get a lot of criticism for it by classical musicians who say we don't need this, but I think we do.
Absolutely. Well, it depends if you want to. Depends if you want to have fun in life, or if you want to be a. I don't know. No. They can think whatever they like.
They can. But I feel that the time is about right now these days for getting back to classical music, because we've got a lot of curiosity there. People are tired of all this noise that's been around for a long time. People are more interested in finding out about this beauty. Richard in Melbourne, who is also a great Horn Hangout fan, and is very happy that we're doing today's Hangout at a Melbourne-friendly time, because usually he has to stay up till the middle of the night. He asked, do you think that younger people of today have different attitudes to the young people of 20 years ago in respect to classical music? Do you think they're more open, or do you think they're less forced to listen to it, or what do you think about that?
I think they're more open. Absolutely more open. I think it's easy. It's an easy catch. But you have to learn to speak the language of young people, because otherwise you can do very stupid things. I mean, I have 4 children, and being from Sweden also, and 2 daughters, and if I wouldn't have listened to them, about gender, what do you call this, equal male female, this simple things like that. They think completely differently, and they are much smarter than us. So we have to listen to them.
Smarter. Everyone on our. We have a couple of technical questions. Hang on, where did it go? It went something about Arnold. Someone asked you about Arnold. Do you use the Arnold Jacobs? Jared Brady said, are you using the Arnold Jacob toys for training the lungs? The Americans like to ask like that a lot. About the spirometer, the tri-ball or stuff. Have you used those sort of things? Sorry to jump around a little bit, but
no, that's fine. I have used them, but I don't use them. Since I came across, I had about 15 different teachers when it came to breathing, and every teacher said different things. And I came to the conclusion when I started to study yoga that I just forget about all what everyone says. If you can learn to stand in position number 1 in yoga, you just have to breathe in and out. That's all you have to do, because the position is extremely important, and that your body is in harmony. Then you can have full lungs, you can have empty lungs, you can do whatever you like. Yeah. So I don't use those tools at all.
High or low? Breathing high or low?
High. No, not high. I mean, wherever the air comes. You just, if you have that position, the lungs are completely free. So wherever the air is it places itself naturally.
Mm, mm.
It's very much simpler. I just have to relearn. I did this when I was around 35, 40, between 35 and 40. I was studying with 20 to 30. I was going through all the Chicago methods, all the Los Angeles, everything, London, you name it,
Mm.
and trying everything. But when I was 35, I really learned this through yoga.
So you obviously don't have to do any breathing exercises because you do that in your yoga. But Chan has asked, what is your usual practice routine in that panic practice that you do? We don't have to go into
Yeah.
programs, but I mean, I guess it's all the basics.
I have a certain warm up that I do every day. Takes 20 minutes.
Have you written it
And
down?
I've done the same. I created that when I was 23, and I kept it. And it's actually on one of those. Anyone who wants to see it, it's on one of those video clips,
Fantastic.
video
I didn't
diaries.
see it. It must have been quite at the beginning.
Trombone tip number 1. It's called
Number one. Okay, I
number
didn't
1.
get
So then that's my routine. And when I do panic practice, it's basically 24 minutes and 6 minutes break. 24 minutes, 6 minutes break, and then just go on.
I'm going to do that today. I'm going to practice for 24 minutes, and I'm going to do a Christian Lindberg day of practice today. Fantastic. Someone's just asked if you're the richest trombone player in the world, but I don't think we need to answer that. I hope you are, but funny question. And Adam has written, Adam Hanna, our friend from Texas, written, in your musical life, what's been your greatest challenge, and what have you done to overcome it?
Oh, okay, but there are many, many challenges. But one that I immediately think about is Xenakis Trork. Xenakis wrote a piece for me. I recorded Keren, and there was a high F and there was a high G flat in there, fortissimo. And I recorded it and I sent this piece to him and asked if he would write a concerto. And he came back to me. He would love to. And then the whole piece was placed up on F and G sharp, G flat in fortissimos, opens on a fortissimo. And it was absolutely impossible to play. So I created a warm-up, a 1-hour warm-up, which goes under the name, it was actually Abby Conant in Munich that named it Warm-Up from Hell. And it includes a lot of Caruso things, and I don't do it anymore, but I did it for every morning for like 1.5 years before I
That's more
graduated.
like a workout rather than a warm-up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Something nice has just happened. A friend of yours in Sweden who's waiting at the Bearwald Hall, waiting for a student, Håkan Björkman.
Håkan, the winner of my competition.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Competition? What's that? What's your competition?
The Christian Lindberg International Trombone Competition. There's been one, and there's been two of them, two versions. Well, first was won by Fredrik Belli, second was won by Håkan Björkman, and the third will be in Riga 2015.
So Håkan won this?
Yeah, he won it. He's an incredible player.
He's watching right now. Isn't it amazing? The internet is just so amazing. It's just
fantastic.
It's just absolutely brilliant. And there was a conducting question for you down here. Hang on, I have to scroll because there's so many coming in. You can read this when we're done. John Turman has asked you for a conducting question, which is good. How do you approach music by Scandinavian composers, particularly Nielsen and Sibelius? Because you're conducting Sibelius this week, aren't you?
Yeah.
I guess, do you need to approach it, or do you feel it in your blood?
You have to get it into your blood. You get it into your blood by learning to know the person. If you don't know who Sibelius is, you cannot get close to the music. So you have to get under the skin of Sibelius as a personality. And then also in this second symphony, there's a lot of clues there from. It was a time of his when he just had lost his child, 1-year-old child who died, and he went to Italy with his family just for soothing himself, and so this symphony has both this Italian, very beautiful. It's so wonderful, and also the really a funeral march. Zom bam ba ba bam ba da da dum bam. And if you don't know that, you cannot approach the music. You have to go under, learn. It has to get into your body. And for me, I'm starting to realize, because I always memorized when I was playing concertos, and I'm starting now. I was too afraid of conducting from memory in the beginning, because it's quite dangerous if things go wrong, if people come in at the wrong place. But I'm starting to do everything by memory. It helps.
Did you learn conducting, or did you learn from watching your conductors?
I took a decision. In '97, I worked with Northern Symphonia, and they came to me and said, "You should conduct." And I mean, every single musician has a sort of thing about conducting, and it's. I always felt that's not for me at all. But they sort of. They asked me 5 times, and I said, "Okay, I make an experiment with it." So I studied for 3 years. I took lessons with Leif Segerstam, with Paavo Järvi, with Gilbert Varga. He was fantastic. With Tommy Andersson, with Nemi Järvi, he helped me also, and James the Priest. So I took lessons with all those for those 3 years, and I did my first event, which was really, I was a bad conductor there, really terrible. But I got a very good review because I was famous. And then I took two more engagements, and both those orchestras offered me chief conductor. So that's how I started.
Yeah. Do you have any, I mean, it's like someone asking you your favorite composer, which is a totally stupid question, but is there a certain repertoire you feel comfortable in? Do you feel more comfortable when you're playing and conducting, or when you haven't got the trombone in your hand?
It's easier when I don't have the trombone, and I feel very comfortable with. Funnily enough, Tchaikovsky is something I'm recording all the symphonies now with my orchestra, Arctic Philharmonic, and Dvorak, Defaya, Bernstein. I mean, I have about 7, 8 composers that I try to focus in on. But I mean, basically, I mean, you can, as a conductor, there's so many wishes from the orchestra, so you have to be ready to do. I mean, I love doing Mozart. I do Beethoven symphonies, and I do all this. But I have a certain repertoire that I feel I can contribute with something. When you do for me to do Beethoven when so many others have done it very, very good.
I love what you do. I love the way you put a program together. Like here at the University of Melbourne, you're doing one of your own pieces. The 9 thing for, here we go. I've got to try and speak Australian at this time. Wollongong. No.
No. We tried to teach you, Sarah.
I know. Tell me again.
No, it's okay. Waves of Wollongong.
Wollongong, sorry guys.
Yeah,
sorry,
good, you got it.
I'll be there soon, so I'll practice it with Tim. Wollongong, and you've got that. You've got Sibelius too, and you've got, what else do you have? You've got
Leopold Mozart Trombone Concerto.
That's a wonderful program, but this is exactly what we should be doing in classical music: is giving a totally mixed bag and saying, here it is. You can like it or not, but have a look.
Yeah, I think it works. It really works. There was some conductors starting that. Which we should be thankful to. Esa-Pekka started it to mix, and also Simon does it, of course, and lots of. I think it's very important.
Do you talk to the audience and explain a little bit, or do you bow?
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, I do that. Sometimes when the venues in themselves think about music in that way, that music should speak for itself, and then I don't speak. But in general, I like to talk. I like to open doors, because I know there are some people there who already knows a lot, and there are programs that they can read. But I know that at least 30% of the audience, you can open some doors by saying a couple of words.
Fantastic. Fantastic. No, you're totally inspirational. The chat is going quite excited at the moment because Zoltan Kiss has just joined us from Vienna.
Showtime!
Hi, Sultan. Good morning. Thank you for getting up so early to watch us. So
Yeah,
we
he's
have
a great
Australian.
player.
He is an amazing player, and he's got Australian roots too. So we're going to get him on a horn hangout before too long.
Yeah, I mean, I've never. I went to a concert and I said, "My God, is it possible to play trombone like that?"
Yeah, yeah,
It's that technique is amazing.
yeah.
What he
Well,
has.
it's great he's joining us. But you have a rehearsal in a few minutes.
That's right. Yeah, in
So
about yeah, 15 minutes. 15
can
minutes. So I
I?
can stay a little bit longer.
You can stay a little bit longer. That's great. That's absolutely great. What are your plans from now? What are you doing after Melbourne?
After Melbourne, I'm going to Svalbard, to Spitsbergen, up north, with Arctic Philharmonic Orchestra. We are doing Tchaikovsky 4 and a world premiere of my own piece and Verdi opera arias with some Norwegian singers. And we're doing a promotion video up there also. And then straight from there, I go down to Japan to do Beethoven 8 and to. So,
Busy boy, my goodness.
yeah.
Your air miles must be really impressive.
Yeah, I think so.
Whereabouts in Japan will you be?
Kobe.
Kobe. Ah, nice,
Kobe.
nice, nice, nice.
Yeah,
I read this in your on your website. I think in the just before midnight, but it didn't stay in my brain. But so it's good that you're telling everyone where you're going to go. But you
yeah.
have.
It's a great country for classical music, Japan. It's fantastic what they did, specifically in the 90s.
Yeah.
Now their economy is not so good, but I've been there every year since 1990. I have a fantastic manager called Genro Hara, and he is, like all the Japanese agencies, they are very truthful and dedicated and fantastic.
Yes, we're going to be there in July. They love brass. They love the brass players are the most loyal fans in the world. I think it's incredible when we go there. The lines of autograph hunters when you come out of a concert.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing.
And the whole concert halls are the best in the world. They have 150. They have 150 places like Musikverein.
Yeah. There's a concert hall question for you. It fits quite well from James Perry. What do you think about the tradition in classical music in regard to when it's appropriate to clap or to crap, as they say in Japan? Oh, sorry. Sorry. Do you think this enhances the barrier between the audience and the musicians? It's a good question.
Mm-hmm. I always do this. I mean, we have some habits. I mean, if you break the habits, it's of course difficult because some people don't like it. But if someone claps and feel embarrassed in a concert, I always go around and I say this, that you did absolutely right, because in Haydn's time, they applaud between movements all the time. And if they didn't applaud enough, then Haydn, actually there's evidence that Haydn went home and rewrote the movement. So yeah, we could break a little bit of those barriers, I think.
Christian, I think what you're doing for classical music is really incredible. You're breaking an amazing amount of barriers. I think more than practically everyone I know. I don't know what your energy is incredible. You're inspiring. You're enthusiastic. You're fun to talk to. I hope we have time to have a beer sometime in person, not just online.
Yeah.
One last question, a girly question. You mentioned it already, your concert dress. You have these shiny shirts, with high collars. Very impressive, but you always wear those to conduct in. Are they a specific, are they very comfortable? Are they a special fabric? Do you have your own designer?
I designed them myself.
No!
Yes. And I have a tailor in Taiwan, in Taipei, who makes them. And they're extremely, extremely comfortable. It's unbelievably comfortable. I cannot wear anything else than these shirts.
Is there anything you can't do?
I cannot find my way out of a hotel. If I go out of a hotel room, I don't know if it's left or right to the lifts. That I cannot do.
I find it hard to find my room usually, because we're in a different hotel every day, and then you think, okay, was it 520 or was it? Yeah.
I know, it's very difficult.
Last question of the day. Tell me about your medallion, because we always see your medallion in every photo, and I want to know about it. Can you show it into the camera really close up?
Mm.
To hold it quite still.
Yeah.
What is it? It's beautiful.
It is something. Actually, I got a present from my friend Sandström a while ago. It was a sun watch that I had around my neck, and I lost it, and I felt I really got addicted to having something there. And I was in Guanajuato in Mexico, where they have the best silver in the world, I think, silver mines. And this is the Azteki sun god. So I bought that there, and I went for like 3 or 4, 5 days in a row to pick the right thing around them. So then I wear it all the time.
Yeah, I know. You can see it always. Well, I hope it brings you a lot of luck in Melbourne, and have a wonderful time. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, I'll send you the chat. You can see everyone's on there. So if you have any more messages for Christian, write them in now, because I'll be sending him all the chat. Thank you guys for joining us online. Christian, have a wonderful rehearsal. Thanks to Tim, who's there somewhere. Where is he? Tim?
Yes, here.
Around the corner. Yeah, there he is. Tim, for setting this up. It's the first hangout that I don't think I've made him get up either really in the morning or stay up very late at night. So I
you
was
had to get up early in the morning.
I was
sorry
in
for that.
the receiving end this time, so I was the one who had to get up. It was great to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I look forward to that beer in person.
Absolutely, yes.